last time I did a hot take of Sunday naps are spiritual. Like,
Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember that. And was yours about waffles?
waffles.
What was it about? I thought there was something about waffles.
It was Christmas tree.
Christmas tree.
Oh, that's right.
You're on Christmas tree.
Sorry, I thought it was about waffles. There was something
Were you
about
hungry
waffles.
when you were watching
Wasn't
the
there
podcast?
something about waffles? There was a conversation about it.
Waffles?
I feel like there was.
I'm already,
Okay,
I'm
I'll have
already
to go
crying.
back.
We haven't even started this thing yet.
What's going on, everybody? This is Worship Pastor Luke Littrell. I'm here with Pastor Heath Woolman and Karen Roy. Welcome to Beyond the Cove podcast. If this is your first time, we want to welcome you. You can find us on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, and hopefully on Facebook soon. So we're excited to get this started. This is episode 3. Again, they let us come back.
That's right.
Things have been going really well. We put these out weekly, so you can look for them on Thursday mornings. And let's get going here. Episode 3. Karen, talk to us about what you do here at Fruit Cove Baptist, and tell us just a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Well, I am the Women's Ministry Director and Director of Fostering Hope here at Fruit Cove. I have the honor and privilege to serve both the women of our church and foster adoptive kinship families. So yeah, that's what I do here. I am a foster and adoptive parent, so that's kind of where this whole ministry thing started. My background has nothing to do with foster care, adoption, ministry.
Yeah. What is your
but
background?
that's how God does things, right?
That's right. That's right.
My background is actually in construction management.
Okay.
So I spent quite a long time, pretty much my whole life around construction and my family. And I would say now being removed from it a little bit, chased after my earthly father.
Yeah.
For a while doing that. I loved it. I love the world of construction. I love all the excitement and the planning and problem solving. But God just really changed my heart's desire through just some really difficult season in my life. Just really showed me that I have another purpose for you and a plan for you. And I'm going to take what I've given you and we're going to use it for something else. And I've just been along for the ride.
That's really cool.
And blind faith said yes to a lot that I never thought I'd say yes to and done a lot. But I'm so thankful for the journey that the Lord has allowed me to be on. So
That's great.
How real of a statement is that? Like, ministry, I'm just along for the ride.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
If you think you're going to go into ministry and be professional, have it all figured out, nope.
No, life has definitely gotten to the point of like, okay, Lord, I have my list today, but what do you need me to do? And you just show me who you need me to serve.
Yeah.
Some days that's easier said than done. When the list is long and, you're held accountable to a lot of things, but he always works that out. I feel like when I say that and I believe it, for the day, he shows me that he's faithful.
You're also a Tennessee fan.
I
so
am
let's talk about
a Tennessee
that.
fan.
Oh, Lord, here we go.
Luke, I'm so thankful
It was good
that
knowing
you
y'all.
are
I
here.
barely have nothing to do with this podcast for the rest of the time.
This has been if we were going to talk hot takes, just kidding. No, I'm grateful that I have another Tennessee fan
Amen.
on the team.
Goodness.
Yes,
Like
I am a
Rocky
big
Top's about to
Tennessee
start
fan.
playing somewhere.
Again, that's where I'm from. I grew up watching Tennessee football with my dad, and I love it. And go Rocky Top. Go
That's
Big
awesome.
Orange.
And you're an FSU fan.
Let's not talk
That's
about
okay.
it. Just,
So sad.
just move on. You know what kind of a season it is when we all
pray
start
for
rooting
you.
for Miami at the end of the season.
I want to do onto some hot takes, and then we'll talk about what we talked about on Sunday. Some hot takes. I'm going to give you my hot take for you two this week.
I came prepared this time.
Okay, good, good.
I'm ready for you.
The last one you talked about, your hot take was about Christmas trees being up all year.
Yeah.
The soapbox or the hot take for me is if you sit in a different seat at church, it throws off your whole worship experience. You've got your pew, you've got your seat.
Oh, you're one of those people.
Oh, yeah. I get
Come
that.
on.
I get that though. I mean, I can.
Except I know exactly where you two sit. Like,
true.
if you're not there, I know something's wrong, or you're busy or doing something. So
I'm usually on the front row right
we're
there.
creatures of habit. She's like 4 rows back on my left side, right?
I used to be
inside center
I
aisle.
used to be in the balcony.
Okay.
Yeah.
But now that the church writes her paycheck, she feels like she's
No, well, it happened before. I remember Pastor Tim being like, "You moved."
Yeah.
So we sat in the front row at the balcony for many years. But yeah.
Okay, that's my hot take. What's your hot take, Heath? What's on your heart this week?
All right, I'm gonna say it, but then you gotta let me like work out the thought. Florida deserves snow days too. Okay. Now I know. Don't worry about the nice, perfect weather that we have outside. When the rest of the country gets a snow day, I mean solidarity. We should deserve just an involuntary snow day. Just shut it all down.
Yeah.
Go home.
Yeah.
You know, people got to stay inside, not freeze to death up north. We need to at least be able to go to the beach once or twice. So, Florida deserves snow days when the rest of the country gets snow days.
That's good.
That's the
I
hot
had
take.
that thought this morning. I
we
did.
do.
I saw the news. I was like, well, we don't get to do that. It's not fair.
I know.
But then you can't say that. I mean, I
I
wouldn't have
just
said
said
it.
it.
I wouldn't have said it out loud.
I mean, who cares about hurricane days and all of that? Like, we
Yeah, I was
deserve
going to
snow
say
days.
that those are our snow days and
Yeah.
the hurricane days.
Yeah.
Okay, be careful what you wish for. I guess it could get really cold here. I don't know.
There is like a freeze warning tonight. So.
I did see that. Yep. What's your hot take?
This is hard for me. Like I said, we were kind of prepping, and I'm not like. I have some things that probably are hot takes that I might not want to like share.
That is a hot take in itself.
You know, one thing that came to mind recently. This is more of like a family thing. Have you guys like rage baiting? Is this thing my kids do to each other now? And it's where they like try to fire each other up.
Yeah.
I wish that like that's soapbox. Like, can we just stop? You know, like
No
there's
more
a
rage
few
baiting.
things in that whole.
I feel like that's always existed, though. We've
I
just
know,
put a
but
name
now
to
we
it.
have a
Like
name
my
to it.
brother was professional at it growing up. He could
but
do it
the
like a
problem
pro.
I have is I don't know the slang, so I called it rage roasting for a while, and the kids made fun of they made fun of me behind my back, like mom's saying rage roasting,
Yeah.
and like let's rage bait her, you know, like
Yeah. That's hilarious. Well, let's get into some
How old are your
spiritual
kids?
stuff here.
Remind everybody. Make
my
sure.
kids are 19, 14, and 8.
Okay, so this is probably not something you're dealing with if you have a 2-year-old.
No,
yet, but
no, well, they might be doing. Well,
Well, maybe a little bit. Yeah.
not intentionally.
You
at
know
least.
Noah and Madeline. So, yesterday we talked through 1 Peter 1, 13 through 16. Going through this Exile sermon series has been great. I want to talk about the sanctity of life and kind of get your perspective on it. We observed that on Sunday. So talk to us about what the sanctity of life is, why we should care about it as a church. And I'm kind of playing devil's advocate here, but I want to hear your point of view on it. I thought it was a really good video that tied into, and really we can tie those two together as exiles. And so talk to us about the sanctity of life and how we as a church really observe that.
yeah. Well, I think we can all, we can all agree the Bible and the Lord value life.
Absolutely.
And there's just scripture reference upon scripture that we could talk about the value of life. One thing that when Luke and I, my husband, started fostering, we kind of stepped into it for a different purpose, not realizing what that meant for the pro-life, for our commitment to pro-life as well. Like we're committed we're committed to life, but not realizing what fostering did. So I actually found a reference or an article that Wait No More is an organization that's part of Focus on the Family. And they put this out a while ago, and it really puts into words kind of like how our family saw this too in comparison. So I wanted to share that. It says, the more we learned, the more we felt responsible for sharing the plight of these children and their families with the pro-life community. Yes, it is pro-life to speak up on behalf of helpless hundreds of thousands of children who are being aborted each year. It is pro-life to walk with abortion vulnerable women in unplanned pregnancies. It is pro-life to offer parenting classes, provide diapers and formula, and help mothers get on their feet after having a baby. But it is also pro-life to continue to walk with mothers and fathers who have never had a positive role model and don't have enough emotional support to raise their children well. It is also pro-life to speak up for vulnerable children in foster care and not just advocate for them, but also open our hearts and homes to them. And it is also pro-life to know that if we ourselves are not called to foster, or I would even say adopt, we can still have a life-changing impact on children in care by supporting families called to foster. What I love about Fruit Cove is with our partnership with First Coast Women's Services, we kind of cover all of these things. We give people real, tangible ways to get involved through partnerships with First Coast. I mean, men, they really need men in the waiting room when these dads are coming in, women, there's so many ways with First Coast, and so grateful for that ministry. But then we have, Fostering Hope, which is our own ministry that supports foster and adoptive families. And there are a number of families stepping into it for the purpose of pro-life. That's why they stepped in. And the Embrace Grace ministry, coming alongside single young unwed mothers who need support and love and care.
Sure.
So I'm really just grateful for our church and all the ministries have, but specifically those that are that honor the pro-life.
Yeah. And that's even taken on a different version now too with Embrace Grace, because we've got a men's group. What is it called now?
It's Embrace Life.
Yeah.
So it's for the dads to have discipleship and just, know that they're not alone and to be, cared for and loved on too.
Yeah.
What are some of the biggest needs you're seeing right now with those ministries? Like how could somebody step in and serve?
Well, I think with First Coast, they have we received some flyers from them with some specific needs. I think prayer ministry needs, volunteer needs I know they have front desk support. There's very specific ways to get involved, and we have a center right down the street from us that our church family could get involved in. Fostering Hope, we have this idea that everyone can do something. Yeah. Like if God's gifted you in any way, you can use it to support foster and adoptive families. I love sharing stories about, a lady in our church that loves to bake cakes, and she bakes cakes for all the families on the teams that she's involved in for birthdays and adoption days. And, our James gang has gotten involved in supporting families by building play sets and home repair, and just the everyone can do something, statement saying is just one that we really love to share with Fostering Hope. If you've got a gift that God's given you, it could be used to serve families. There's a place for everyone, from prayer to supporting families to volunteering events, childcare. We would love to have anybody.
Yeah.
And then with Embrace Grace, I think from what I understand, the biggest needs right now are just mentors and more volunteers to get involved for the wrapping parties. So what's really cool about that ministry, at the end of the program that they offer the moms, they do a baby shower. And
That's
so they're given gifts, and just they have a kind of like a Daughter of the King Day where they're just poured into and loved on. So
that's special.
Yeah.
And even for something like that, I mean, we want everybody to step up and do something, but that idea of not somebody coming to try to fix somebody else, but somebody willing to come and be vulnerable.
Yeah.
Because, we said it last week, Lou's story last week and others, we've all experienced suffering. There's a lot of people in our church. For the first Sanctity of Life Sunday after I got here, I had somebody come up to me right beforehand, and they just expressed concern about how I would address it, because they have trauma in their past relating to having to make the decision about choosing life. And, I think there's so many people in our church community that they've got stories, they've got experiences, and they may be painful and difficult in the past, but God can use and even redeem that, even if it was a bad decision as a young adult, even if you walked through something that was difficult, and now you would look back and say, man, I wish I could do something different. Though you might not be able to go back and do something different in your own story, you can make an impact in the story of somebody else's. And so I love just seeing and hearing those volunteers, especially the Embrace Grace, Embrace Life group, who are getting to just do ministry with people who are in those places of incredible vulnerability. They don't need preachers. And I say that as a preacher.
Yeah.
They need people who love them and that have been there.
Yeah. Honestly, I feel like our best, most invested ministry leaders, volunteer leaders, are those who have walked through hard times and hard seasons of life. And, we know God uses everything for a purpose. And those are the ones that are usually the most passionate about serving in those places. So, and like you were saying, the ministry of presence is so powerful. Like we don't have to have the right things to say or bring things with us sometimes. A meal is nice, but sometimes just sitting at the feet of somebody and just being there is so important. in all of these ministries.
Yeah.
How can you tie that together with your sermon series, with the suffering that you've been talking about through 1 Peter? Somebody that's walking through some of that, or they may have some things that bring up their past that kind of brings back memories of suffering. How would you tie that together with your sermon series as Exiles?
Well, Peter's going to get there as we keep going in this letter, but even just at the very beginning, recognizing that if suffering is inevitable, we're going to experience suffering, we're going to experience hardship, getting to the place to where we're able to say, God, what are you teaching me through the suffering? We're really quick to blame God. We're really quick to ask God why. We're quick to ask him to take the suffering away, like we talked about.
Yeah.
But when we get to a place of spiritual maturity where we can pause and say, God, what are you teaching me in this? I think it's in those moments that we understand holiness better, because he's able to refine us in a deeper way, because we get to a place where we recognize it's only him who's going to see us through these moments. And that call to holiness, I didn't get any emails from it, but I know that just the conversations afterwards, there were some people that took the weight of, if you don't desire holiness, I'm going to question the genuineness of your faith. That idea that we should be desiring it. It doesn't mean that we're holy. It doesn't mean that we've got it all figured out, right? And so when you look at my life, holiness is probably not one of the top 5 things that people are going to, identify me as. I want it to be. That's my desire. I want to be more like Jesus. I want him to be glorified in my life. And as we pursue holiness, a lot of times, one, we understand what holiness is because we've lived the opposite of it in our life in the past. And our pursuit of holiness really can be this redemptive work of allowing God to work through our past, to work through the decisions that we've made, to work through our brokenness, that former ignorance that Peter talks about, and causes us to want to move forward in a way that doesn't just pursue Jesus, but pursues to emulate Jesus. Mm-hmm. That's where you get to a place of effectiveness in ministry. Is I don't want to come and just preach at somebody. I want to come and just demonstrate Jesus to them. Yeah. It means I want to love them the way that Jesus loves them. I want to serve them the way that Jesus told us to serve them. I want to be sacrificial in the way that Jesus was sacrificial. And in the same way, we're never going to do it perfectly. And we always have those days where we wake up and can it just be about me, please? I've served everybody else enough. Like, can this just be about me? But then again, that's just evidence that I'm not holy yet, right? But our pursuit of holiness, I think sometimes it's embodied really in the way that we pursue after Jesus, but more practically, it's embodied in the way that we serve others like Jesus. That the product of a holy life, it touches others. It affects others' lives. And so that idea that the most effective volunteers are the ones that have walked something, I mean, they understand what that former ignorance really looks like, what that past really feels like, and they don't want to go back there. Right. And they don't want others to go back there either. And so for us as chosen exiles, right? So we're chosen, we've been redeemed, we have been saved from the past. We don't want to go back there, but we look around and we see people walking the journey that we once walked, experiencing the pains that we once experienced. And our desire to be holy like Christ needs to also have the heart and the attitude of Christ, who looked upon a bunch of people who were like sheep without a shepherd, and he wept because he had deep compassion for them. And it moved him to action, to the point of the cross. We're called to be moved to action because we've been called to look at people the way that Jesus looks at people, because we've been called to be holy like he's holy.
Great quote from Sunday morning that you said, suffering is real, but so is the resurrection. Yeah. And that's what gives us that living hope. You're not going to, what was it, 2 weeks ago you said, being a Christian is not rainbows and cupcakes or unicorns.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a real thing. And I think sometimes...
Come live your best life now, right?
Yeah,
and that's
exactly.
That's not what we see in the gospel.
That's not right. Suffering is real, but so is the resurrection. I love that. Another quote that you had yesterday.
This makes me nervous when he starts quoting me and I don't know what he's going to say.
Hey, at least you know I'm taking notes and I'm really paying attention.
Or there's an AI transcribing it for or something. Yeah. I don't know.
We're reminded that ministry often happens in the middle of real pain, but never without hope, because Jesus is alive and redeeming stories. Yeah. Kind of just goes together with that suffering is real. Thank you for what you're doing, Karen. This is really inspiring, and I don't think I've been a part of a church that has this great ministry that you're doing. So thank you for doing that. It's really, really cool. And it's cool to see how it incorporates this local area and how we're reaching out to it and helping them out. So, or any other things, how they can get involved? I know you talked about what's the best way that they can contact you to get involved with these ministries that you're doing.
Well, they can always see me at the Next Steps table.
Great.
I'm usually there on Sundays. Karen at fruitcove.com is a good way to get in touch with me. And if it's not necessarily something you hear, some of the best ideas and the best things we've come up with have been from people that have said, hey, I don't know that I could do that, but I could do this.
Yep.
Yep.
Let's be creative, because there are so many ways that God's gifted you for a purpose. He has. And if we can put it into action and serve families, I mean, I do. Ever since I started off with talking about my story and thinking about, my past and how God brought me here. And I know that, vulnerable children and families are the very heart of God. And it is just, there's been nothing like being on the front lines and watching him work day in and day out. And I just love to bring people into it and give them opportunity to see how he transforms lives and what he can do. It's just nothing like it, And if there's anything you have to offer, and you may not think it's much, but
Right.
Some of the best ways that we've served families have been from those places.
That's great. I want to talk about the Beyond moment that we had on Sunday morning.
Yeah.
Talk to us about that, how people can get involved. We also had a survey, and we want people to take that survey. So talk to us about that. When did we start the Beyond moment? August? September?
So August, we launched the Beyond Initiative. Pledge Day was in November.
Yeah.
I'm encouraged. Somebody walked up to me after one of the services and said, do you realize that 5.5 million numbers? So we talked about how, based on the pledges and just the consistent giving of our people, when we get to the end of the 3-year initiative, if nothing changes, if we don't see any new pledges or any uptick in giving, we will be able to fully fund the budget and have $5.5 million in hand to start projects. Well, back in 2002, when we built the Rock, that project, the Rock, the purchase of the land behind it, all of that, it was like $6.2 million.
Yeah.
And it took us over a decade to pay that off. And we haven't even broken ground on anything yet. And we're already at 5.5 in hand.
So encouraging.
Or will be in hand at the end of this. And so that's really encouraging. But that only counts for about a third of our giving families who have turned in pledge cards. I know we got a few more yesterday after the Beyond moment. And so I think that's the takeaway for us, is we want to make sure that we have a full understanding of where we can go. We're going to step out in faith. We're going to have to make some big decisions to bring this campus to where it needs to get to. We are at capacity everywhere. We've got needs across the campus that we need to address. But at the same time, we don't want to forsake the ability to start a ministry presence down at State Road 16. We want to do both of those things. And that's a big, lofty goal. It's something that we believe God's leading us to, and we want to be good stewards of that. And so the committees, the team right now, they're looking at all of this data to make a good, informed, but yet faith-filled decision in how they can present something to the church. And we want to hear from everybody. And so if you're part of those 2/3 that haven't turned in a pledge card yet, and it may be because, and I've heard this a few times, well, I can't give any more because we're already tithing, but we're going to keep tithing. Man, just pledge your tithing. Let us see and know that, because that's going to help us be able to communicate in a very practical way. Lenders, they won't do it on a hope and a dream, but they'll do it on a pledge. And so having those pledge cards actually help us tell lenders, hey, this is what our people have said they want to be a part of. And so even if you're not, giving extra, if it's just your tithe, that's really helpful. And on that, man, we're looking at a couple of lenders, one in particular, that if we do leverage debt in any way, their ministry model reinvests all of the interest that they make off loans like this to go back to church planning and ministry. And so that speaks to my heart. I don't want to just, pad the pockets of some big corporate bank somewhere, but being able to work with a ministry that can provide assets to us and then know that whatever we pay them for that, it's going to be used for ministry too. I think that's going to be a huge win. And so we need pledge cards, but we also want to hear from the church. And so the church survey went live yesterday. If we go to fruitcove.com/beyond, you can find it there. There's like 3 buttons at the top. pledge now, more information, and then church survey. Click that. It takes 2 minutes to fill out, but it's helping us ask the question, hey, where should our prioritization be? What's our comfort level with debt? I've said a bunch of times, I don't want us to get to a place where we're passing debt on to the next generation, right? If we're going to do this generation making the decision, it needs to be the generation that's paying for it. And so I want to make sure that we're not jumping over some threshold that's unwise, right? Even if we take a step of faith, that's one thing, but we can call something faith and it just be ignorance. And I want to be very careful that we aren't crossing the line there. But also there's a question that asks, hey, what trade or vocation or experience do you have that might be able to speak into it? Like, we even have somebody in our church that recently said, hey, I don't know what I can do. Like, we're pledging and giving, but I have this air conditioning company, and there's a chance I can be able to help get supplies at cost for the church. It could be something as simple as that. And so if you've got experience, if you're a professional drywaller, man, we'd love to know it, because I think one of the things that will help accelerate what we're doing is not just by farming it out to a bunch of professionals, but allowing the church to really build the church. The church body really build the church house, and doing it together, I think will help save us a ton of resources, but also invite more people into that. So that question just asks, hey, if you've got skills or experiences, we want to hear from you. And so really, if you're a church member, go fill it out. It takes 2 minutes. It's going to really be helpful for us.
As soon as you said do the survey, we actually did it real quick when you were talking. So it really does take 1 to 2 minutes. I mean, and if you wanted to stay anonymous, you could. So
all the demographic information is optional, except for your zip code. We don't know where you're coming from,
right?
But if you do say you've got skills, it's really helpful if you tell us who you are. Don't tell us you can build the church for free and then not tell us who you are. That would be heartbreaking.
That's awesome. Anything else that didn't make the cut for Sunday that you want to talk about or go into?
Man, just be here this week. What didn't cut it, I was going to do a bigger passage because Peter's still in thought, right? We stopped kind of in the middle of the thought, but he's going to point back really to the blood of Jesus and how we're redeemed. I paused because this coming Sunday, we're doing the Lord's Supper together. And it's just a good reminder as we look in Scripture at how we've been redeemed by the blood of Jesus to pause and just worship him because of the sacrifice that he's done by laying down his life for us. And so it's going to be a special time of Lord's Supper and worship this coming Sunday as we finish this passage in chapter 1.
That's great. So Karen, is there anything else event-wise that our church family can be a part of coming up?
Yeah, actually, we have partnered with the No More Orphan Experience. So on March 1st from 5 to 7, Wait No More, who is part of All Pro Dad. So if you've heard of Tony Dungy, it's his organization. Yeah, they have an arm called Wait No More. Their goal in the state of Florida is to get into communities to recruit foster and adoptive families.
That's great.
Not only that, but also share all the ways you can get involved beyond, fostering, adopting, supporting, Safe Families for Children, Better Together. We're going to have several organizations here. It is a community-focused event, but we would love our Fruit Cove family to be there. So if you're interested in learning more about foster care, adoption, or how to get involved, March 1st from 5 to 7, they're bringing a great worship experience. I hear there's going to be spoken word and an awesome speaker, and then we will have some sort of handheld food like tacos or pizza to walk around with for the second hour to visit tables to see how to get involved.
I think I saw an ad for this, like on Facebook. All of a sudden, I get this Tony Dungy ad, like Fruit Cove Baptist Church. What is going on? And then I realized what it was. Like they're running their own marketing ads too. I think it's great.
They target communities in the state. I think it's a Department of Children and Families initiative, and
it's awesome.
They called us. Cool. So we're really excited to host them.
That's always a cool moment to be like, hey, that's my church.
It is,
That's right. That's right. Love that.
Very cool. I want to give a segment here to ask you questions for our next episode. So if you are listening or watching right now, you can ask Pastor Heath a question. Obviously, we'll filter those and we'll ask you a few questions. We might give you a heads up or two before we ask you.
Sounds fun.
Yeah, it is fun. So
Karen's not allowed to submit one.
If you would like to submit a question to Pastor Heath, you can do info@fruitcove.com. We'd love to hear from you. Or you can comment on YouTube or send us a message. Anything else before we close? Karen, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Love what you're doing for our church. So many cool things, so many exciting things, as you mentioned on the first episode, that our church is doing.
Yeah.
And it's it's time to get on the same thing that we're doing, and we want to encourage you to be a part of something great here.
Get on the field and let's play.
Let's do it, man.
Let's do it.
Hey, if you've enjoyed this, would you please share this, like it, or subscribe wherever you're listening to these podcasts, Apple, Spotify, YouTube. We'll hope to see you next time. Thanks for joining us.